Russia's special military operation in Ukraine has swiftly escalated into Europe's worst military confrontation since World War II, with Russia beginning a multi-stakeholder onslaught throughout the country's territory. The Russian military has assaulted nearly the entire enormous area of Ukraine with air attacks by fighter planes, cruise missiles launched from ships, land, and air, as well as artillery and ballistic missile shelling. Prior to the battle, the armed forces of Russia and Ukraine were severely lopsided, with the Russians dominant in terms of troops and firepower. The West began supplying Ukraine with additional weaponry immediately after Russia opened fire on February 24, but it made little difference. Russia's air force consists of hundreds of strategic bombers such as the Tu-160 Blackjack, Tu-95 Bear H, and Tu-22 Backfire, as well as thousands of modern MiG-series fighters such as the MiG-29, MiG-31, MiG-35, and Su-series such as the Su-24, Su-25, Su-27, Su-30, Su-34, and Su-35. Meanwhile, Ukraine has no bombers and only outmoded fighters such as the early MiG-29 and Su-27, as well as some ground attack fighters such as the Su-24 and Su-25. The number of Russian helicopters is also several times more than Ukraine's, with the most sophisticated helicopters such as the Mi-8, Mi-24, Mi-28, Mi-35, Ka-50, and Ka-52, of which the Mi-28, Ka-50, and Ka-52 are the most advanced helicopters in the world, proved to be combat competent, with its greater capacity to attack from the air and long-range missiles. Russia nearly entirely destroyed Ukraine's tiny number of aircraft and military airfields in the early days of the war, providing effective assistance for Russian ground forces, DPR, and LPR. In this situation, Ukraine has asked the West to swiftly equip it with contemporary fighter planes, but the US has resisted, fearing antagonizing Russia and escalating the war to the point where it becomes a clash between Russia and NATO. The West has made steps to give Ukraine with spare parts and equipment to rehabilitate certain obsolete fighter aircraft. And it is possible that some old Polish MiG-29 fighters were smuggled into Ukraine, along with several dozen outdated Soviet-era Mi-8, Mi-17 helicopters. With only those few additions, the West cannot assist Ukraine in rebalancing its air forces in relation to Russia. Ukraine also purchases or gets a large number of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, for example. More than 50 Bayraktar TB2 attacked drones from Turkey and more than 100 Switchblade kamikazes from the United States. Ukrainian UAVs have performed a number of effective strikes against Russian tanks and armored vehicles. But owing to the limited quantity of UAVs and the fact that the majority of them were shot down by Russian air defense systems, they were unable to assist Ukraine stop the Russian army's advance. Regarding air defense systems, Russia has a big force size with exceptionally modern air defense systems such as Panzer S, Tor M2, Buk M2, M3, S-300, S-350, and S-400 Triumph. Furthermore, Russian forces are armed with the most recent generation of man-portable air defense systems, MANPADS, such as the Igla and Verba. Russia's short, long, and medium-range air defense missiles have limited the Ukrainian Air Force's air combat capabilities, making it hard for them to gain control of the skies and help the men on the ground. Meanwhile, Ukraine's greatest anti-aircraft weapon is an outdated Soviet S-300P PS system with limited capabilities, as well as a handful of Buk M1 systems, S-125-2D, SA-8 Gecko, Strela, OSA. Furthermore, Slovakia provides Ukraine with an obsolete Soviet-era S-300 system, the strongest anti-aircraft armament system the West can supply to this country, as well as a variety of short-range missile complexes. However, most of Ukraine's air defense systems were destroyed in the early phases of the military operation by Russian missiles, while others were destroyed during the battle phase by anti-radar missiles. Following that, the country's air defense capabilities were severely reduced. However, Ukraine is lucky to have received hundreds of man-portable air defense missile systems, Manpad, FIM-92 Stinger, USA, Strela, USSR, and high-speed air defense weaponry HVM Starstreak from Western nations, older brother. These weapons have made some contributions against Russian planes. There have been reports of Russian helicopters and fighters being shot down, including both low-flying attack planes like the Su-25 and contemporary frontline bombers like the Su-34. However, these weapons have a short-range, low-range air defense range, cannot assist Ukraine in gaining control of the skies, and can only prevent frontline Russian bombers from aiding soldiers, slowing enemy offensive speed. Furthermore, the fact that Russian fighter planes and helicopters are outfitted with strong electronic warfare complexes has significantly limited the damage that Ukraine's air defense forces may inflict on the VKS, or Russian ground forces. As a result, the relationship between the air defense forces of the two countries is very lopsided. Despite the West's strong support, Russia's power significantly outweighs Ukraine's.